Welcome to How to Catch. In this brand new series, I will be showing you how to catch different species from a boat. In this video, we will be talking about TOPE. At the end of this film, you will learn where you can locate TOPE, what time of year can you expect to catch the TOPE, one super effective rig, what baits are best to use, and obviously the rod and reel combo. Let's go. Okay then, so at the start of the videos of the How to Catch series, we come down to my chart plotter and I put it on relief shading and I try and show you where you can locate the TOPE. Now, TOPE are very hard fighting fish. They regularly grow up to over 40 pounds. I think the record is near 90. It might even be a little bit more. They go big. They're a shark species. They fight hard. They're good fun. And they're well worth targeting in the UK. Now, the more west you go in the UK, the more, generally speaking, the higher numbers of fish there are. So Wales, West Wales, all down that area, fantastic fishing for TOPE. The south coast, you do get them in the Thames estuary as well. You get them all down on the south coast. So if you're sort of west coast, English Channel, and up a little bit around sort of Dover, up that sort of way, a bit of Essex, then TOPE fishing could be for you. Now, the best months for TOPE are between April and June. That's when you generally get the pack TOPE coming on inshore, and that's when you can go and try and locate them. So between April and June, you want to be finding nice bits of mixed ground which hits reef. So you want some sandy ground and you want some reef. So this is sand here. You can see that because the contour lines are not close together. And if we zoom in, you can clearly see that that is sand. Now, over here, we've got some reef. It's very, very fast flowing reef, this. The water gushes over the top and it creates real strong tidal currents. And that is what you want when you're TOPE fishing. Stronger the tide, the better. The faster flowing, the better. The TOPE absolutely love it. It throws up all the bait fish. The small fish get confused and the TOPE come along and annihilate your baits. So as you can see, another reef there. I choose to anchor in the middle of it. You get a nice bit of flow there, and it's quite a good TOPE mark at its time. Not always going to be good. I mean, I've had sessions blanking here, and you get absolutely nothing. In a spring tide, it's horrible to anchor. Very, very fast flowing. It's not sort of one it's particularly enjoyable. So sometimes you can come off and sort of anchor a little bit further away from the reef, just to take the edge off the current a little bit and make it a little bit more fishable. Now, the big female TOPE, which is going to be the TOPE that you want to target, the sort of 40 plus 50 pounders. Now, they will be in the main pack, the TOPE pack. Now, TOPEs they're in shoals. There's lots of them. They all come through. They annihilate an area and they go away. Sometimes you can have an hour's crazy TOPE fishing and then it's dead. And that's because they hunt in packs, TOPE. Now, the big fish, as I was talking about a second ago, the big 40 to 50 pound female fish, you'll find them in May mostly, and they will be with that big pack of TOPE. So sometimes you've got to fight through the smaller TOPE to catch the big ones. The big females, then after about May, they'll move off from the pack and they'll go and hunt alone. What they don't want to be doing is competing for food with the smaller, faster fish. Those females from about June will move off and they will be sort of solo fish. And they'll sort of not be in such a pack, so to speak. So the ground you're looking for TOPE, between April and June is ideally sand where it meets rock, so anywhere where there's a real fast current. So here's a very good example that I've got up here. Really fast flowing, because you've got a reef here and a reef there, flows over the top, and the tope like to feed along the edge. Another good tope mark, this is another area a little bit further out. We can see that it's reef. Again, this is quite local to me. Somewhere where I would like to anchor this year. I haven't done it as of yet, but I know it will hold tope. In fact, I think I have had some tope along here on my sib, actually. You can anchor it in here, look. So you've got deeper water there, but you've got a reef system here, a reef system there. You can see that because it's raised off the seabed. It's quite obvious. Close contour lines, so there's lots of changing depths. Anchor it in the middle there, and the tope will be running through here and picking up all the little fish as they come through. The tope ideally will feed on spring tides a bit stronger. I've always found the spring tides to be better. You can fish on neap tides, but you then need to find an area of fast flowing water. So that reef I was showing you earlier, between the two, that would obviously be quick water. Here would be very fast flowing water. You can see here the depth is 12.5 metres there, 15 metres there, 17 metres there, 19, 20. So that bit of reef there, that rises off the seabed loads, which will create a natural faster flowing water. So on a neap tide, you want to be looking for those sort of areas where the tide's still going to be very quick. There's plenty of places you can anchor around there for tope. Now, another place for tope, if you're not comfortable anchoring near reefs, or you haven't got any around your way, are sandbars. Now, tope can feed on the sand and the clean sand because they'll be in all the dabs and the flatfish and the gurnards and the whiting. So anywhere where you can get a slight ripply seabed, sort of turbot ground really, you can also catch them on there. I've had a couple on sandbanks like that. And obviously that's very easy to anchor, and no snags, nothing to worry about, and you still can get big fish like on sandbanks there. You'll also catch the big females on here as well in the later June months, possibly when they break off from that main tope pack. They might come a bit deeper offshore, and they'll possibly be feeding on the sandbanks. So if you're not comfortable anchoring rock or near rock, then sandbanks are also a great option for tope. So just as a very quick recap then, tope, you're looking for reef, fast flowing water, and just anchor just off that reef on the sand. Lots of tope there. You can catch them on the sandbanks as well, and the best months are between May and June. So now that you've learnt where to locate the tope, hopefully, and when best to target them, let's have a little look at the rigs to use for these tope. So the rigs for tope, now I'm going to talk about one rig, and that is just going to be a very simple running ledger rig. Now you can float fish for tope, so that means suspending a bait in the water in sometimes the mid to lower columns. Sometimes that can work really well, but we won't be focusing on that today. We'll be focusing on a very simple method which will always going to catch you tope if they're there, and that is a bottom bait running ledger rig. Now the first part of this setup, you're going to need a running ledger setup. So you're going to need one of those, or a couple of them if you're fishing multiple rods. Really simple. I won't show you how to make these because I have done in previous videos, but I will run through it with you now. So you're going to need an SS link clip, which is there, or a coast lock swivel. You just tie that on with your chosen knot. You then slide on a bead, which just acts as a little buffer to protect the knot. You then slide on your zip slider, where your weight attaches to. Then slide on another bead, and have about 10, 12 inches, I suppose, and tie on a very strong SS barrel swivel. So that is all you need. You can make up plenty of these. They're fantastic to use. And you can have lots in the tackle box. So I always have about 10 to 15 of them, all pre-made up. And obviously that bit would go on another link clip from your main rod, your main line. And then on that end, you're going to attach your running trace. And I'm going to talk through some of the hooks you can use and some of the components you're going to need to tie that running trace. So when we're tope fishing, it's all catch and release. So we don't have a fishery here to take tope. They're all endangered in the UK. Some people might say they're not, but it's all catch and release, and so it should be. They're great fun, they're great sport fish, and that's the only good thing for them is to catch them and release them safely. So for this, we want to be using circle hooks, ideally. They promote hooking the scissor of the mouth. They make unhooking easy, don't swallow it as much. So circle hooks are the way forward. Now, the Limitless range do a lot of different circle hooks. As you can see, I've got them all lined up here. And I've even added not a circle hook, but if you really don't like circles, then the Catfish Pro hooks, so it's more of like a meat style hook, might be for you. But let's go back here and just talk about the hooks quickly. So you've got some which have slight offsets. You can see there's an offset. These are barbs. I would crimp the barbs down. For tope, I don't really need the barbs with circles so much. As long as you keep the pressure on the fish, the hook won't pull. So you've got offset circles there. You've got another offset circle, but with a different eye. As you can see, that one is at a different angle to that one. We've then got slightly shorter shanks here, which is a BLK nickel circle. Again, that is slightly offset. All very, very sharp, these hooks. They're all penetration points. You've got this one, which I wouldn't advise using. That's an LSF full circle, not because it's a rubbish hook, but because the wire gauge, as you can see here, is a lot thinner. Now, I'm sure you'd catch on that, but to me, why use a thinner gauge and a more sort of weaker hook if you can use something like that? You've got specimen circle hooks, which are very wide gape, more of a traditional style circle hook there. That's they go up to 10-0, those sizes. And as I said earlier, if you don't want to use a circle because you really don't like them, then this Catfish Pro hook would be a fantastic choice for tope. It's got a nice wide gape to it. Again, it's got that offset. Those offsets I really like. I think they make a huge difference. And anytime I can use an offset hook, I generally do. So that's a hook you could use if you didn't want to use a circle. So I've had a look at all these hooks, and the hook that I'm going to use for the tope is going to be the XT offset circle, and that is in 5.0. You can get them slightly bigger, but I don't find bigger hooks are generally needed, so we're going to be using that one today, which is slightly offset, and it's also got the eye, which is sort of not totally straight. It's at a little bit of an angle, which I find best. It sits in the baits a little bit better and digs in a bit and just holds that hook proud and nice. So that's the hook that I'm going to use, but any of these circles, maybe apart from that one, would be a great choice. You're going to need a line. This is going to be 200 pounds line. You don't need wire. Please don't use wire. It can damage the fish's mouth. There's no need for it. This 200 pound line there will be absolutely ample and absolutely fine. Obviously, you're going to need a weight. Now, the weight's going to vary on the strength of tide and how much weight you need to get to the bottom. So don't necessarily need a grapnel. As long as you've got enough weight to hit the bottom and keep the bait on the bottom, all good. And then, obviously, you're going to need a pair of scissors. And finally, obviously, a very powerful swivel. That's the strongest swivel that Limitless do. With a breaking strain of 180 kilos. That swivel is definitely not going to break on a tope. So basically, those components there and 200 pound line is all you need. Let me show you how to tie one up. Right, okay, so let's just get on to tying the rig. It's super, super simple. I've cut off about 3.5 foot of 200 pound mono. Don't have too much length on it because it does promote the swallowing of the bait. Now, circle hooks do a very good job of not allowing that to happen, but the longer the trace, the longer amount of time that fish has got to swallow the bait. So try to keep them as short as you can. And I also find with a shorter trace, the runs can be a lot more aggressive and a lot more fast because they pick up that bait, they feel that weight, and they run and they're off. So we've got our XT offset circle there in 5.0. That hook will be perfect for a tope. I'll crush the barb down at a later date. All we're going to do with this 200 pound mono is go through the hook. And because it's so thick, all we need to do is either a 2-turn or a 3-turn grinner. Now, I think we're going to try for 3 turns, but a 2-turn grinner on 200-pound mono, it doesn't actually budge at all. But I think we're going to manage to get 3. So 3 turns like that. Pull up there. I'm going to come and moisten that, pull that, and pull it nice and tight up to the hook. Right, so because obviously 200-pound mono is super thick, you can see there it's not pulled up properly. So what you want to do is grab either a knot puller or scissors like this. Grab the line there, make sure the hook doesn't slip, and just very gently keep pulling, and you'll see that knot in a minute will go tight. If you can pull that and just, there we go. There we go. That's not going anywhere. Perfect. So that 3-turn grinner there, that's sitting nice. When you carve the tag end, do leave a little bit for slip. So that's fired, so I won't start finding that tag end anytime soon. As you can see there, I've probably left about 1 centimetre of tag end. That just means if it does slip a little bit, it's got a little bit of give. But yeah, that's not going anywhere. And all you want to do is cut up to the other end of your trace line and do the exact same with that SS power swivel. Just tie that on again with a 2 or a 3-turn grinner knot. There we go. Tight, 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 tight. That's going nowhere. That's settled lovely. There we go. Perfect. And that, guys, is your trace done. So, as I said earlier, you've got your running ledger setups. So obviously you'd open that up, you'd put your weight on. Sorry, I know I'm teaching some of you to suck eggs here, but some people might want to know. That would sit on there. That would go onto your main line, so that drops to the bottom of the seabed, obviously with your rig, which just attaches on like this. I like these link clips because they're not prone to opening up, and the coast lock swivels, generally, the more you use them, the more it wears out that bit of metal. And then what we'll go and do is talk about baits and how to basically hook it up. But there we go, all done. So that's your rig, that goes up to your main line, you've got your weight on there, you've got your link clip, and then you've got your trace with that very strong circle hook on the end. So we've learned where we can locate them, we learned what time of year we can catch them, we've learned the best rig to use to catch them. So let's talk about what baits we want to use. Now, I am a firm believer in match the hatch, which means whatever the tope are feeding on is ideally what you want on the end of your hook. So if there's a lot of mackerel in the water, fresh mackerel you cannot beat. Super oily, just reaps out just beautiful scent, and the tope absolutely love it. If you can get hold of fresh mackerel, and there's fresh mackerel down there, then that's my go-to bait. Other baits, whiting. If you're on them sandbanks, if there's a lot of whiting, whiting's a great bait. Dabs as well, very, very good bait. Dabs for tope. A lot of people don't think so, but believe me, they are. Bream as well, so sea bream, a flappered up bream. Again, a lovely bait. People won't like using them as a bait, but needs must. Sometimes if they're feeding on bream, catch some little bream like that, put them on a hook, and watch that rod absolutely scream off. Now, hooking them, this is how I do it. There's 2 ways. So you can either hook that through the bottom sort of gill plate, up through the lip, and then you go through the top of the hard part of the head, and you just have it poking out. Because it's a circle hook, they stay on there really well. A flappered up mackerel will stay on there really, really well. I'll try and be finding some overlay footage to use here, but I can't promise that I will have any. So apologies if there isn't any overlay footage here of the baiting up procedure. So that's out the head. Alternatively, go under under where the gill is, pull it through that hard bit of the head, so it goes all the way through, and then you tuck this just in the sort of back shoulder, just where that dorsal starts, and then pull it through, pull your hook through, a bit of bait elastic round, and sometimes what you'll find is the tope will bite the back of the head of the fish, and it will just leave you with the head, obviously, where the hook is. So sometimes you're missing good opportunities to catch when all you'd have had to have done, same as conger reels, is pull the hook through the head, so the line's going through the head of the fish and out through the bottom, and then nip that in the body of the fish just at the back, pull that tight, bit of bait elastic to keep it all nice, and you'll get a lot more fish that way. So try and match the hatch with your tope fishing. See what they're trying to feeding on. If you're catching a lot of fish down there and you know there might be tope around, keep a couple of whatever's down there if you can legally, and use them as bait, because whatever the tope are feeding on, that's what you want on the end of your hook. So now that we've learnt where we can locate them, what time of year, the best rigs to use, the baits we can use, let's have a look at the rod and reel combos. So as I said at the start of the video, tope can go very big. They're hard fighting fish. So tackle wise then, if I'm targeting tope which are near them reefs and those reef structures, I like to use a sort of 20 to 30 pound class boat rod paired with a decent multiplier, and I like to use 80 pound braid. It's no secret that I like to use strong line and strong gear, but that doesn't take the sport out of it. Just really, enjoy the fight. You can take the gear down a bit. I like the 80 pound braid because it's got a little bit more abrasion than the small stuff. Obviously have a running leader as well on the end of that braid, just as a sort of safety barrier. Have like a 60 pound leader. So you have your 80 pound braid, then you might have 8 to 10 foot of leader material of about 60 pound mono, and then you have your running weight trace, and then you have your hook trace, and that's really all I would say. 12 to 20 pound rod would also be fine. Take your time with the fish, let it run, and just wind it up slowly. There's no need to pump them up really quickly because you'll probably end up losing them, and they'll go for a diving run and something will give. So enjoy the fight, take your time, and enjoy your fishing. But yeah, that's my recommendation for a rod and reel setup. You don't need anything too extreme. Your general boat rod, your reels, but if you want some serious fun, then a fixed spool and a stronger spinning rod. Yeah, you'll have some great fun. Well then, we've learned quite a lot in that video. I hope you've enjoyed it. I know there's a lot of information in there, so you might want to rewind some bits, relearn it. If you've got any questions, leave a comment below. Send a message on the Facebook Muscle Fishing page if you want something a bit more personal and a more detailed chat. I'll try and help you out. If you're looking for marks in your area, I can try and point you in the right direction. Even if I'm not from there, I might be able to give you some marks that I would try, which might be able to help you catch some more tope. So take care. If you're not a subscriber already, it's free. Just click subscribe, click the little notifications bell. That will ensure that you see all the videos which go up, and maybe take a look at these how to catches from previous episodes. Have a good week. Cheers.